I have a question. Where did Jeff Okudah go? And then that's what I think is a question of a lot of Detroit Lions fans. He started the year so well, and then all of a sudden, he wasn't playing as much, especially the last 2 weeks. Well, Dan Campbell finally shed some light on this, was asked a question and answered it in an absolute Dan Campbell way. So I want to show you this, and we can read this together. He was asked specifically what happened with Okudah. Where has he been? Was he benched? All this kind of stuff. And he said, no. I would say it was a couple of things last week we talked about. Campbell responded. He's saying, like, hey, we talked to you, we talked to Jeff. He said, I thought he came out ready to work. It was always about getting Mike Hughes more plays. Interesting. He said, I mean, Mike earned his right to play now, too. And Okudah took some gunner reps for us because Mike was going to play more on the outside than probably Jeff was. And so they both played. No, listen, Jeff's good. He's helping us, man. He's contributing. Okay. This is absolutely interesting to me. This is very interesting to me. He very nicely said, and I have more stuff because we're going to look into snap counts. We're going to look into all this kind of stuff. And I'm going to give an explanation as to why I think it might be happening. But when you read between the lines on what Dan Campbell is saying right there, basically he's saying Mike Hughes is playing better than Jeff Okudah. And if somebody's playing better than you and you are the incumbent, you are the starter, and that person who's better than you now takes your place, isn't that called getting benched? I'm just saying that's called getting benched. Let's call it what it is. And the question we have to ask ourselves is why and if it actually does hold up to that. So now what I want to look at is I want to take a second and look at some snap count observations. So our best corner right now, our corner that plays the most snaps, is the most versatile right now based on snaps, is Will Harris. He played 94% of the defensive snaps, which, by the way, 94%. That's phenomenal. I just absolutely love it. Then you have Jerry Jacobs. Jerry Jacobs has shown himself to be our number one corner recently. It's weird, but it is absolutely happening. We're going to go more into those numbers and metrics in a minute. Then Mike Hughes didn't get more snaps than Okudah. He doubled Okudah's snaps. He had 34 snaps. So not only was it that, but they were saying to Okudah, we're also going to have you play gunner. And he was playing gunner on some of these things. Now, here's the thing that I thought was so weird. And it says it right here. It said Okudah started the game, but once again found the bench early. He was heavily favoring his right arm on the sidelines, but was also still running downfield on the punts as a gunner. So is his lack of playing time, the question we have to ask ourselves, is his lack of playing time because of his shoulder? Or is it because he's not playing well? He's not playing good enough. I think it can be both. I think he cannot be playing good enough because of his shoulder. We saw him hurt that shoulder quite a few weeks ago. I remember seeing it in a game. He was able to play through it. He played the next week. He is a guy who's going to tough it out through injuries. But it has been a while since we've seen a good game from Jeff Okudah. So here's what I want to look at. I want to look at Pro Football Focus, and these are the defensive grades from our team against the Bears. Not surprisingly, Hutchinson and Houston are on top. Very much surprisingly, Melifanu and Oruwariye are the next two that are there, and they both got snaps at the safety position. Oruwariye, little outlier, only 14 snaps, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Let's go all the way down here, and we find Jeff Okudah at 15. All right. He had a 61.6 overall game grade in a game that we absolutely dominated. But here's the interesting thing. You see this right here? This nothing right here? That's tackles. So that means he didn't get in on a tackle, and he was in for 7 run defensive plays, which isn't that crazy to think about. Now, his replacement, Mike Hughes, had a grade number 8 on the team of almost 70. His tackling grade was a very respectable 72.5. So he is showing that he's willing to do the dirty work, but this didn't just start this game. Let's look deeper into Jeff Okudah. You see early on, okay, he's maybe better than last year, but man, can he tackle. Look at this column where it says tackling right here. You can find my cursor. This column, 76, 79, 84, 80, 80, 72, 76, 74. He is tackling well. And then all of a sudden, he just fell off a cliff. He absolutely fell off a cliff. Injuries much? Anyone? Right? And his grades suffered because of it. 41, 43, 47, 61. This is the best game he played, but it was limited snaps. So maybe the team knew what was going on. He's running down the field as a gunner, but depending on what side of the field you put him on, you can protect one of his shoulders a little bit in that. And his job is to get there and disrupt things. So he has not been playing that great as of late. On the flip side, Mike Hughes. Remember, we got him from the Kansas City Chiefs. He's not that old. He's almost 26 years old. And we expected him to start the year. We thought he would start. We didn't think Okudah would be the start. We thought Hughes would start opposite Oruwariye. So now you have this guy that's been playing, and all of a sudden he's kind of earning himself back in. But look at his tackling grades here, everybody. He's in the 70s every single week. He's tackling well. And while Okudah's play was trending down, his play is staying steady or trending up. So you have to look at some of these things, kind of understand that, like, no, not everything's in a vacuum. And I understand that. Not everything is in a vacuum. I get that. But Jeff Okudah, we can say whatever we want. Look, he was benched. It doesn't mean he's going to be benched for the rest of the year. It doesn't mean that he can't come back and play well. Maybe he just needs to get healthy, but it's too important of a stretch for him to fully get healthy. I don't think it has anything to do with his illness, but his illness might have hurt valuable rehab time. I don't know. Like, it's hard to know these things, but here's what we do know. His snap counts have gone down dramatically. They have gone down dramatically. And that's the thing we have to understand. I will give you some totals for snap counts. Early in the year, I'll start week 1, 66, 63, 72, 67, 53, 57, 67, 62, 58. New York Giants, 18. 18. Then he gets back up to 56 against the Jags, gets hurt during the Minnesota game. Almost nobody saw it. He only got 27 snaps. And after that, he went 62, 44, 17. So we have to understand, like, this is a guy that might be playing without a full deck. He might be a little bit injured. And the coaching staff is just protecting him in that. Also, we might have to understand he might not just be playing well. We've always talked about Okudah as this guy who, it's the mental game that everybody worries about. It's not the physicality. It's not the work ethic. It's not the tangible skills. He has them. He's got them all. He's got enough speed. He's got enough burst. He's got good change. He has fluid hips. He's got the body in order to play corner at a high level at this league. And he has shown ball skills. But the question is, where is he at mentally in his state? And maybe he's just struggling a little bit right now, and the coaching staff is trying to work through it. Either way, we have to start wondering what next year brings, because going back next year, bringing back corners Mike Hughes, Jerry Jacobs, and Will Harris is not the answer if we want this team to make big strides and be a playoff contender again. That's the natural next jump, is you want to be competing for the division, and playoffs are almost an expectation next year based on what we've done this year. We need to shore up the defensive secondary, and definitely at cornerback. I think safety, we're getting close. So anyways, that's what you have for Okudah. Dan Campbell finally talked about it, and it sounds like it was a nice way of saying, yeah, we benched him, even though he said, no, we didn't bench him. All right, hit that subscribe button below if you haven't already. Love to have you as part of this community. You get notifications, all that good stuff. Leave a comment below. We love reading your comments. All right, talk to you guys later.